Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Thanks for being with us. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. Everything's going so well that you might be surprised that we've got a couple of things that
we almost
seem a bit off.
Almost had to cancel the show because there's nothing to talk about.
I know, right? Yeah. A lot of times we're like, well, what should we talk about? Should we talk about Disney characters today? You know, your favorite one?
Yeah.
And somehow we don't get to it.
We almost went to play golf, you and I, but we thought, it's a little chilly. So
for a change, it is. It was 48 on my way in. What'd you have clear up there? You know, in Oklahoma or wherever it is you live.
I think it was 44. I didn't check it this morning.
Yeah, chilly.
Right when I left. I checked overnight, but
I love it.
Yeah.
So great. Today's what, 62, 63 for the high?
Yeah, I mean, it's already been snowing in Minnesota, Michigan. A lot of your listeners go to Twitter and post their pictures.
Awesome.
And
awesome.
It's already started. Good.
That's pretty early snowfall, mid-October. Nice. Wow.
I have some bad news for Dallas-Fort Worth. A week from tomorrow, next Wednesday, they're saying 86 for a high here.
What?
Sorry.
Sorry. Well, it's going to be 80 on, I think, Thursday. So 63 today and tomorrow.
Fun.
80 on Thursday.
When you're a kid, you dress up. You got this elaborate costume for Halloween.
Yep.
You grow up in the South. I can speak from experience. And you just end up sweating.
Yep.
It's gross, man. It needs to be cold on Halloween.
Yep. But it usually isn't.
Sorry.
So, usually not here.
Yeah.
Leaked emails reveal Hunter Biden's real estate company received a $40 million investment from Russian oligarch Yelena Baturina, the billionaire widow of corrupt Moscow mayor, who also paid the president's son $3.5 million in consulting fees. Nice. Huh.
Man.
All right. She, at one time, was the richest woman in Russia. She's now worth $1.4 billion. Documents show Rosemont Realty's investors included Intico Management AG, a Swiss company owned by Baturina. Intico Management invested $40 million with Hunter's company, Rosemont Realty. $40 million? According to emails obtained by Daily Mail, Hunter and Baturina's financial relationship was far more extensive than previously known. The relationship has already been flagged as alarming by a Senate report after Baturina mysteriously wired $3.5 million to a company linked to Hunter.
Well, and so this is the Trump family you're talking about with their in bed with Russia.
No, this is the Biden family.
Oh, it's
the
Biden?
Joe Biden family.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sure a lot will come of this.
Oh, you know the New York Times is writing a piece right now.
If this were Donald Trump Jr., man.
Oh, my gosh. Can you even imagine?
Wall-to-wall coverage on CNN.
Well, he got wall-to-wall coverage on CNN, despite the fact that there was nothing like this going on in the Trump family. Now, there's this also. Joe Biden may have been involved in Hunter's criminal conduct, according to whistleblowers. And that, according to Senator Grassley, President Biden may have been involved in potential criminal conduct committed by first son Hunter Biden and first brother James Biden. That's what Grassley charged in a letter to top law enforcement officials last week, citing FBI documents with specific details. The October 13th missive from Grassley to Attorney General Merrick Garland, FBI Director Christopher Wray, and Delaware U.S. Attorney David Weiss was obtained by the Washington Examiner on Monday and accused the Bureau of a pattern and practice of political decisions, citing FBI whistleblower allegations.
Sitting on all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. The FBI has within its possession a series of documents relating to information on Mykola Zlochevsky, the owner of Burisma, and his business and financial associations with Hunter Biden. The documents in the FBI's possession include specific details with respect to conversations by non-government individuals relevant to potential criminal conduct by Hunter. These documents also indicate that Joe Biden was aware of Hunter's business arrangements and what may have been involved in some of them.
He gave us his word as a Biden.
Right, that he didn't even talk about what Hunter did for a living. He didn't even know about business associate. Wait, my son had a job? Huh.
This is how they
I didn't
squeeze
know about that.
Joe Biden out. After the calendar flips, this will be how they shuffle the old man out. Right here.
Maybe.
Man, there's just too many questions, Joe. Thanks for your service to this nation. You've done a hell of a job destroying it over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
We're going to need you to leave because this is just tainting our party.
Thank you for cutting the United States of America down to size. We can now almost reach equity with the rest of the world. So thank you for that. That's what they're trying to do. And they're doing a really good job of it.
So the Democrats, here's the scenario. If they suffer losses in the midterm, they pull Joe. Well, they got to take Jill and I guess anybody else that can translate for him since he doesn't understand. Hey, look, we got the goods on you here, and you've served your purpose. So I think you need to say that your health is an issue, and you need to go and focus on that. And
beat it.
Yep, right around January 21st, so that Kamala can get the full 10 years
of this coming year.
Yeah,
you think?
Yeah, January 20th. Well, I mean, yeah, because if she takes over anytime after January 20th, then she gets the rest of that term and then potentially 2 more. But dear heavens, I can't see that woman.
I'd kind of be surprised to see that happen because the Democrats just don't. I mean, they don't do that.
They want to get a head start on the gravitas of the presidency. If you think you're going to run her,
maybe.
But maybe she's so tainted that
I think she is.
That they're just like, no.
I think they're looking forward to Gavin Newsom.
So they're kind of stuck here.
They are.
Do we write out this empty suit?
Yep.
Or do we give a head start to Kamala, which neither is desirable for the future of this party?
No, I think they understand Kamala can't win. She can't win. She can't be their candidate. So they're in a real bind. They're in a real bind.
But you're saying that Gavin Newsom is their guy.
Is their savior.
Well, he made an announcement yesterday.
He did.
Governor Newsom. He said that California, that the state of emergency for COVID is going to expire in February.
In February? Okay. Yeah, thanks for that, Gavin. Appreciate it.
February 28th, we will no longer be under a state of emergency in California. I mean, the guy, I don't know what he knows about the future of COVID. We used to make fun when they'd say, oh, yeah, a week from now, we're going to lift the restrictions.
Yeah.
Well, it must not be science-based. My gosh, clearly it's not if over 4 months from now is when California is going to get around to what in the world?
The worst. That's when he can relinquish a little bit of control, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. But he's not the guy either. I don't think that he can win. I know Kamala can't win. And I really don't think Biden can win. Although Fox had him at 46% approval.
Oh.
How does that happen? How has he come up in approval rating? How is that possible?
And this is Biden's numbers?
Yeah, 46%.
I did see something where 67% of Americans disapprove of Biden's handling of the economy.
Yeah, I mean, he's terrible underwater. He's like 40 points underwater with the economy. But overall approval rating was 46%. I can't conceive of it. I can't even imagine. It shouldn't be above 5. The guy's awful. Everything he has touched has turned to garbage in the last 2 years. Everything. And they're planning to release another 10 to 15 million barrels of oil from the nation's stockpile, from the oil reserve. That's unbelievable.
And if you're going to destroy a nation, don't you think you'd be a little less obvious that you're trying to do that?
No, they seem to be fine with it because they got enough cover from the media.
I'm no longer asking for a president that loves America or an administration that wants the best for America.
Just don't hate it.
Just don't hate us.
Just don't try to kill it.
A neutral president.
Yeah, wouldn't that be nice?
Who's just neutral on America.
Right.
Please.
The release of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve would be the latest portion of a 180 million barrel program that started earlier this year. The administration is also expected to provide details this week regarding its plans to restock the emergency oil stockpile.
Remember when when the Democrats rebuffed Trump when he was trying to do that? Remember the price of oil in about May of 2020? And Trump goes, "Hey, this would be a good time to stock up on oil." And they're like,
"Yeah,
shut up, Orange Man." And it never happened.
Right.
It's just madness, man.
Well, the president was in fine form yesterday. He was fantastic, and he wanted to give us a web address. That always goes well when he tries to give out a web address.
Oh, no.
If you get any questionable calls, please tell us by going to report fraud. Report fraud.
Okay. Report fraud.
DOTFTC.
DOTFTC. .gov.
DOTFTC, baby. You just say dot. You don't actually spell out the word, bro.
If you get any questionable calls, please tell us by going to report fraud.
Report
fraud. DOTFTC.gov.
Unreal.
He's good.
So it's .ftc.gov? Is that what it's supposed to be? Jeez. That's too many dots anyway.
Yeah.
Can't you find a better website than that for the government? For the United States government, you can't do better than that? Report fraud. DOT. Wait. www. No. Hold on. HTTP.
Okay. Is
colon.
It not an S?
// So
it's not an S.
No S.
No S.
Why
wouldn't they just buy reportfraud.gov?
I don't.
It doesn't change the fact that he would have still spelled it out.
Yeah, and he still would have screwed it up, like he did the numbers.
As the same bankers talk about, it's going to bring $700 billion off the sidelines. Investment.
Yeah, $1 trillion. Wait.
As the same bankers talk about, it's going to bring $750 billion off the sidelines. Investment.
It's one of my favorites. That's great stuff. So it's $1,750 billion. It's a lot, right? I think. I don't know.
Okay, hold on. Should we? Do we need to diagram this?
Yeah, we need to write it out.
I don't know that I'm able. I may not be capable of this either.
It's $1 billion trillion.
Okay, so if it's
wait a minute, here we go. It's
as the same bankers talk about, it's going to bring $1 billion.
Okay, $1 billion.
A trillion.
A trillion.
Hold on.
$1 billion, a trillion.
So hold on. So I'm at $1 billion, right?
Write it in words.
Oh, okay.
What are you doing?
I was trying to come up with the actual number to see if that much money's on the sidelines. I want my cut.
Write it. You know they write it in words, and you still can't freaking get it.
Okay, $1 billion.
So it's $1 billion, a trillion, $750 million, billion,
$700 million billion.
$1 billion
off the sidelines. Investment.
Okay. So that's it. $1 billion, a trillion, $750 million, billion.
Okay, but
best.
I do want to know what that number looks like.
I do too. Maybe somebody will write it out for us. That's a lot of zeros right there.
That is a lot of zeros. I don't know that I have enough paper to write all those numbers.
That is a lot.
Okay, I'm going to work on that.
A billion,
I'll get back
a trillion,
to you.
750 million, billion. All right, that's good. That's good. And here he is yesterday, forgetting who he is or where he is. I mean, I don't know. Just check out how confused he looks. This is some incredible stuff.
Privately held loans, will they at some point become eligible for this forgiveness because
Look at
they
him.
no longer are?
We are working on pathways there to support those. We're moving as quickly
You can
as
hear him
possible to
moaning.
provide relief to many people.
Look at him. He's frozen.
No, what he said.
He's just frozen. Kind of look like Beavis.
Kind of.
Like frozen in time there with his little hand out there.
Yeah. Well, what he's thinking is $1 billion, a trillion, 750 million.
Look at how much money's on the
billion.
sidelines. Look at
That's
that.
a lot.
What could we do with this if we just got this into circulation?
I think you could buy the rest of the planet with
That's
that.
$1 billion, $1 trillion, $750 million, $1 billion. We are in hell.
That's great. All right. So that's fun. Let me tell you about Scoremaster. If you don't have the kind of credit that the U.S. government seems to have.
Yeah, I mean, if you had $1 billion, $1 trillion, $750 million, $1 billion.
You wouldn't need to buy anything on credit. You know, you just pay cash for everything. But what you should do is wait 3 weeks because you don't have $1 billion, $1 trillion, $750 million, billion. So you should wait 3 weeks. The 3-week rule, wait 3 weeks to buy that new car, 3 weeks to refi your home. Why? Well, because that's how fast the average Scoremaster user takes to boost his or her credit score by an average of 61 points. 61 points. When you add that to your credit score right now, that save you tens of thousands of dollars on anything you finance. Scoremaster technology was developed by credit data scientists to boost your credit score higher and faster than you ever thought possible. It's so easy. It only takes about a minute to get started. And you don't have to wait months for your best credit score or wind up with, I raised my credit score 7 points. Wow.
Oh.
Did you really? That probably saved you what? Nothing? So try credit score for Scoremaster for free and see how many plus points you can add to your credit score. Go to scoremaster.com/Pat. That's scoremaster.com/Pat.
Pat Gray returns.
What a good time in American history, am I right?
Oh, man, you are right.
Boy.
And when you're right, you're right.
I'm glad we have a president who's
on top of things?
He's fixing everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have a billion, $1 trillion, $750 million, billion on the sidelines. So I don't know what you do with that.
I think you pass the Inflation Reduction Act and that fixes it.
Right. And
brings it all back.
That's going to happen at any minute when that reduces inflation, right? Whew. I think KJP was asked about that yesterday.
Oh.
And she, of course, answered as always.
More than on inflation. Can you give us a timeline? You've laid out eloquently what the president's been doing.
When does it start working?
Is there a timeline for when Americans can start feeling some economic pain relief?
So in regards to the Inflation Reduction Act, early next year, they will see some of the pieces of that. When you think about an energy cost, when I think about it,
then I'll see the relief.
Medicare kind of benefits from that. So we'll see some movement on that early next year. But when we talk about inflation, gas prices, that's been something the American people have seen for the past several weeks, and as costs has been coming down. And
my
the
costs
hearing
are coming
aids
down.
That I just
hearing
laid out,
aids.
that's something that
Hearing aids.
Once I have a clearer timeline that Americans are going
Medicare
to see,
and hearing
I'll
aids.
share with you on all of
That's
that.
great. Hey, hearing aids coming way down, are they?
Yeah.
That's great.
They're over the counter now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's good. So I don't have to
go to the doctor to get a hearing aid?
No. Well, I mean, depends. I think it depends on your level of hearing loss.
Okay.
Can I just point out Blinkers Magoo there with her big book of nothing?
Mm-hmm.
Boy, she was really struggling. Just watch the first 10 seconds of that clip, Rob. Just watch those eyes, man. She's trying to get her footing.
On inflation, can you give us a timeline?
Watch
You've laid
this.
out eloquently what the president's been doing. Is there a timeline?
You know how
for when
lost she
Americans can
is
start
based on how
feeling
many
some
times she
economic pain
blinks.
relief?
So in regards to the Inflation Reduction Act,
Yeah, here we go.
Early next year, they will see some of the
They'll see some of the
pieces of
there
that.
they are.
Pieces of that.
Energy
Blink
when you
costs,
think
City.
about
blink. The
Medicare kind of benefits from that. So
yeah,
we'll
the
see
Medicare
but look,
benefits.
on that
Okay.
early
So
next
listen,
year.
the
But
Medicare
when
benefits.
we talk about inflation,
When you
gas
talk about
prices,
inflation,
that's been something that's
then-
the American people have seen for the past several months, several weeks, and as costs has been coming down.
No,
and
it
the
hasn't
hearing
been coming
aids
down.
that
Hearing
I just
aids,
laid
see?
out, that's something
You
that
just laid it out.
once I have a clear
It's fixed.
timeline, that Americans
We
are
have
going to
hearing
see, and I'll
aids
share with you,
available.
Medicare
on all
and
of that.
hearing
But
aids.
Yeah.
So that's great.
What
yeah,
else
good.
do you need?
Good. Nothing.
I think we opened up this segment talking about how everything was under control and fixed because of this president.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
There's
after
your
you've taken
proof.
care of Medicare and hearing aids, how many times have you heard people screaming about the high cost of hearing aids? And if we could just get the cost of hearing aids down, this country would be a much better place to live.
Yeah. And he's the man that did it.
And he finally did it. He got it done.
You better give him credit.
Thank you, Joe Biden, for bringing down the high cost of hearing aids. So bizarre. So bizarre. And, they're claiming that gas prices came down $1.35. No, dumbass. They did not come down $1.35. From where they started, I love the fact that he's using the absolute peak of all time gasoline prices. And they came down from that, to an unreasonable level. Big deal. I mean, I'm still paying over $80 a gallon, like $85 a gallon. Or not a gallon, $85 a tank full. That is not, you're not saving me money there. It's still twice as much as I used to pay under Donald Trump. It's easily twice as much. Filled up for about $43 a gallon or a tank full under Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because it was about $2 a gallon, somewhere in there. It was a little over $2 a gallon most of the time. I'd say the average price under Donald Trump was around there. Now it's way over $3 a gallon, close to $4 a gallon. Yeah, I paid, I think, $4.05 last time I filled up. So I brought it down $1.35. Shut up. No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
It went way up, and you brought it down a little bit since then. And it wasn't him that brought it down.
No. But, releasing all of our strategic oil reserve, that's a smart play.
Yeah. That's not going to come back to bite us.
Did you see, though, that later this week, the Biden administration is going to release their plan, right? I think you mentioned it earlier. I'm looking forward to their plan for stocking it back up.
Yeah. Let's see how they're going to do that.
Is it going to involve, fracking or drilling in America?
You know it isn't.
I feel so bad for kids these days, man. Like, my kid's starting to drive. There's no joyriding. There's no going to some frivolous trip across town to a friend's house or whatever. I mean, that's terrible.
I remember when I was a kid in high school, cruising the drag, driving up and down the main streets and on the mean streets of Helena.
Yeah.
Dodging bullets.
Your car was wrapped in Kevlar, right?
Yeah, but it was still bullet-ridden. I mean, there's, so many people firing.
But it was your childhood. And it was
fun. It was
away.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And you can't take that away. You can't. Because gas was, nothing, especially in Montana. In Montana, people talk about, I remember when it was 50 cents a gallon. No, we were paying like late 70s. We were probably paying 28 or 30 cents a gallon. Can you imagine that?
I'm in Helena.
That sounds like ancient
take that
times.
Savings and put it into body armor.
Yes, which we had to do, of
sure.
course. We had to do.
Yeah, man. I know I've said it a million times. February of 1999, 59 cents a gallon, Austell, Georgia.
Love that. I love that.
But you do not get those days back.
No, we're not. We're not getting those days back.
It's like, and it sucks.
It does.
Because it feels like we're the first generation that isn't going to leave a better country for our kids.
Right.
Which pisses me off.
It's heartbreaking.
It truly is. That's a rite of passage for Americans.
Yeah.
It's
something we pride ourselves on.
That's your job as an American parent.
Leave it better than we found it. Give it to our kids, pass it off to them. An even better country than it was. Well, that's just not the case right now. Maybe it will be if we can get a Republican in office, either DeSantis or Trump. Maybe they can bring it back. It's going to take some doing, though, because they have screwed things up so badly.
Yeah.
They got a lot of work ahead of them.
Have I talked about it on this show? I had a conversation with someone who's like, no, we don't want DeSantis as president. Let's let Trump or somebody else have that. We need good governors to stay in place because the states are we're at our last line of defense now. It's the states. And a case can be made. Okay,
Yeah.
I can understand. But you know what, Florida?
I understand that.
You got to give one. Take one for the team, Florida.
Yeah,
Give us
please.
DeSantis.
Yes. Yes. As long as Christ doesn't win, if DeSantis leaves, you'll be fine. Florida will be fine. It's kind of returned to its red state status, has it not? Don't you think? I think Florida's it's redder than it was before.
It's amazing how these states that fix their election systems,
how they return to where they should be. Yeah,
they go red.
It's interesting. Huh. I wonder if there's something to that.
Nah, there's probably nothing. It's just a coincidence.
Sure. I'm sure just coincidence. Speaking of red states staying red, big Senate race in Utah right now. I just can't believe in Utah, state I love, the great people. How are you even considering Evan McMullin over Mike Lee? What is going on?
Yeah, McMullin's been bragging online about how much money he raised. He's been raising.
Yeah, probably from out-of-staters, right?
Terrifying.
It's probably all coming from California, Colorado, New York.
Well, these big Democrat groups. And I was looking up on Real Clear Politics, the latest polling there, and it's Lee +5, +6, +5, +3, +5. And then there was a poll that McMullin tweeted out yesterday, and I went back to try to
probably is it an inside the campaign
I don't
poll?
know. I went back to pull it for today's show, and he either took the tweet down or I just suck at finding the tweet that I saw where he was winning 44-43.
Oh, I wonder if he took that down, because that can't be.
Because I didn't even have a chance to get the source or anything.
I did see, though, that a lot of the polls are within the margin of error, which makes them at a virtual tie, supposedly. Come on.
It's terrifying.
That can't be. That cannot be. You've got probably about it. You have the best senator in the country in Mike Lee. The best senator in the country. Don't listen to the Salt Lake Tribune. That piece of garbage newspaper. But I'll tell you, he's even under attack from the Deseret News sometimes. KSL, stop it. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, you know what it is. Mike Lee, as Evan McMullin pointed out last night in that debate, Mike Lee is a known traitor to the Constitution.
Well, this is incredible.
Oh, it's
this
a long
is
clip. Yeah.
How long
It's
is
over 2 minutes. And
okay, we'll have to play it on the other side.
It's dangerous what's happening in that you lose
Evan McMullin's a liar. He's a lying sack of crap.
Yes.
And he is a Democrat. Don't let the I for independent fool you. He is a Democrat. He will caucus with Democrats.
Yeah, and so that's what we have coming up after the break. We have the two clips. We have Evan McMullin accusing Mike Lee of being a traitor to the Constitution and Mike Lee putting him in his place. And then we have a clip where Mike Lee just explains to Utah who Evan McMullin really is and who supports him. And
let's try to get Mike on. We should have Mike on.
I think he's going to be on with Glenn later today.
Probably, but we should get him on too.
Want him on too? Okay, cool.
I mean, this can't stand. He should be 15, 20 points ahead of Evan McMullin.
When does voting start in Utah?
I mean, we may have gotten fooled by Evan McMullin in 2016.
Right.
I'm not fooled by him anymore. Please, wake up, Utah. Seriously, Mike Lee, they're calling him an extremist in the local press. He is nothing of the kind. He's not an extremist. He's not a flamethrower. He's not yelling at people and screaming at people and insulting people. He leaves that to us.
I mean, there's nobody fights for the Constitution more in Washington, D.C.
And nobody knows it better than Mike Lee does.
Right.
Between he and Ted Cruz, there's no better constitutionalists in U.S. government.
Early voting in Utah begins a week from today on October 25th.
All right. More coming up, including the debate last night with Lee and McMullin.
Pat
888-900-3393. That Unleashed on Twitter. Got a whole new season of Pat Gray Unleashed. Debuting soon.
Wow.
A whole new season. Yeah.
Oh, is this a rerun right now?
Yeah. No, it's not.
Okay.
But it's the old season that we're doing right now because the new one is coming.
So it's a premiere that's coming?
Yeah. Just going to freshen things up just a tad.
You keep using that word.
You don't think it means what I think it means?
Yeah.
Got some tweets here from Bunter Hayden, crack connoisseur.
Oh, nice.
They're doing everything they can to destroy everything so that they can blame everything on the Republicans when they eventually get back in power. Their long-term game is spectacular. It really is. They are long-term planners.
Yeah, somebody posted yesterday, I saw a tweet that said, just wait. If Republicans take over 2 months in, it's going to magically be a recession. And
yes,
they will blame the Republicans.
Right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Madness.
Yeah, that is right. Squatching duck, $1 million, billion, $1 trillion, and 10% for the big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Jenny Blue Dog, things couldn't have been screwed up as badly as they have if they weren't planning this for some time. We fell asleep at the wheel and can't ever do that again. That's for sure.
That's assuming we're going to have a chance to ever fall asleep at the wheel again.
But that's the thing. I mean, progressives are patient. Progressives are just patient communists. That's all they are. They believe in the same things as communists. They just don't believe in necessarily radical revolution, in a violent revolution to effect change. So they're patient. They wait and they gradually take over institutions. They gradually took over the education system in this country, and look how it's paid off for them.
You know who else is patient, and that would be Islamic terrorists.
Right.
Nice to see that the Democratic Party in America has something in common with them.
Yeah. Well, they've got something in common with everybody who wants to destroy America. So, speaking of which, can you believe that early voting in some states started on September 23rd? That is ludicrous.
Sure is.
Come on now. There is way too much that can happen in the meantime. Have they even done all the debates and things? Jeez, that's incredible. Minnesota, South Dakota, Virginia, Wyoming, all started on September 23rd with early voting. Illinois and Michigan started September 29th. All these states are experiencing early voting right now as well. Maine, California, Montana, Nebraska, New Mexico, Arizona, Indiana, Ohio, and Georgia all voting now. Jeez.
That's insanity.
Isn't that something? Now, Utah, which we were just speaking about, their early voting begins on the 25th. In Texas, we start the 24th. So we start next Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Utah's the next day on Tuesday. Now, things are really heating up in Utah. Here's a little look at what happened last night in the debate between Evan McMullin and America's greatest senator, Mike Lee.
But for you to talk about the importance of the Electoral College, I think is rich. I think you know exactly how important it is. And I think you knew how important it was when you sought to urge the White House that had lost an election to find fake electors to overturn the will of the people.
What?
Senator Lee, that was the most egregious betrayal of our nation's Constitution in its history by a U.S. Senator, I believe, and it will be your legacy.
Oh.
Senator Lee is still casting doubt.
Please.
Good number of them booed that.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just took about 7 or 8 minutes away from the candidates. We're here to hear them.
Shut up.
Pause it for a second. Okay, because they booed for 7 seconds.
By the way,
They took 7 or 8 minutes away from them.
And his admonishing of the crowd took another, 12 or 13?
Right.
Shut up.
What are we talking about, dog minutes? What do you mean? All right, there's more.
You advised spurious so-called legal efforts to mislead tens of millions of Americans that the election had been stolen. And congratulations, you succeeded. As recently as this year, and even tonight, you're still casting doubt on the legitimacy of the election. You're doing a tremendous disservice to this country, Senator Lee. You have betrayed your oath to the Constitution with this.
Wow.
It is and for this state, Utah, that was founded by people like my ancestors and yours, who sacrificed greatly to finally
Pause it
realize.
for a second.
He's going to play that card.
How dare you?
I know.
How dare you? Mike Lee's grandfather was the president of the church and someone we consider a prophet. His dad was one of the great legal minds to ever come from Utah and the president of BYU, and they are revered and respected in that state like nobody else, really. And he's daring to call into question his family and his ancestry?
No, I think.
Wow. Okay. All right.
No, I think he's making the opposite point. It's like, how dare you?
Oh yeah, how dare you? Because
your family, your great family.
Yeah, my ancestors and yours. I mean, if you're going to compare ancestors, I don't think Mike Lee's the guy you want to compare him to. But anyway, there was more madness
for you to represent this state and to cast away, to abandon, to throw away 14 generations of American leadership, I think is a travesty.
Do you?
Senator Lee, a 30-second rebuttal.
Evan, that's not true. You know that's not true. You, sir, owe me an apology. Listen.
Nice. Hit him,
in the
Mike.
days leading up
to
January 6th, when the votes were going to be open and counted, I had a job to do. There were rumors circulating suggesting that some states were considering switching out their slates of electors. If that were true, I would need to know about it. I did research on that. I made phone calls to figure out whether the rumors were true. The rumors were false. On that basis, I voted to certify the results of the election.
So suck it.
Yeah, so stick that up your rectal cavity. All right, Evan? What do you have to say now? Huh? He knows he voted to certify the election. He knows that. There's no way you... Is there any way that his campaign didn't at least look that up? Wow. Amazing. So then Mike Lee explained who Evan McMullin really is.
Senator Lee, it is a betrayal of the American Republic. You were there to stand up for our Constitution. But when the barbarians were at the gate, you were happy to let them in.
Senator Lee, next, and we will give you an additional 11 seconds, please.
Oh, wow, thank you.
Okay, I think I disagree with everything my opponent just said, including the words but, and the. It was an information-free, truth-free statement. That's something of a record.
Okay.
Look,
I love the dig. Now, Mike Lee dig.
Absolutely
that's good stuff.
Nothing to the idea that I would have ever supported, ever did support a fake electors plot. Nothing. There's not a scintilla of evidence suggesting that, and yet you continue to insist that with a cavalier, reckless disregard for the truth. This is sad. This is troubling. It's also entirely consistent with your adopted political party. You have sought for, actively courted, and obtained the endorsement of the Democratic Party. You've raised millions of dollars from ActBlue, the database on which far-left, progressive, socialist, democratic donors can be found. And then you have, in the last quarter alone, spent $1.6 million feeding the Democratic industrial complex. So it's not surprising to me that you would come here today and spout not only lies, but lies that are specific to the leftist cause, lies that are specific to the Democratic Party, and lies that certainly are not applicable to me.
Nice. Good. Nice slap down.
If there is... Jeez. Let's say you're a Utah voter. You're a good Mormon who wants to do the right thing and vote for the right person. Just ask yourself, who is more likely to caucus with Democrats were they to get into office? It ain't Mike Lee.
No. It's almost a certainty.
You honestly, you honestly want to empower the Democrat Party more? And let's say this thing is a 50-50 tie again. You want to empower Kamala Harris with a vote in the Senate and give Joe Biden whatever he wants? Well, then vote for Evan McMullin, because that's what's going to happen. if it's 50-49 Republicans and then there's Evan McMullin, who just funded his entire campaign? The Democrat Party.
Act Blue.
Act Blue.
Unreal. Wow. And, look at the enemies Mike Lee has. The Salt Lake Tribune, who just bashes him at every turn, lies about him mercilessly. I mean, the Salt Lake Tribune was created in the late 1800s, created specifically to be anti-establishment, anti-Mormon, anti-anybody who's conservative, and they've stuck with that. They've stuck with that throughout the last century and a half. So take a look at who is supporting Evan McMullin and who is attacking Mike Lee and why. The Salt Lake Tribune just did this. They pulled this little stunt where they sent a request to the Lee campaign and said, hey, send us an essay of Mike Lee, and we'd like to, print it and compare it to Evan McMullin. So they did. And the Tribune turned around then and said, look at this paper. This is Mike Lee endorsing Mike Lee. What a maroon. He can't do anything. That's how narcissistic this guy is.
What?
Yeah, bizarre. I mean, really bizarre stuff. They're like, no, Mike didn't write that. The campaign wrote it. You wanted it. The worst. I mean, the lies about Mike Lee and their provable lies are outrageous. It's that whole I am not here thing. I'm going to look you right in the eye and tell you that Mike Lee supported the whole fake elector scam. He didn't. He doesn't. He's never promulgated the Trump won the election thing, to my knowledge. I mean, he might have wanted to look into it. Who didn't? Right. We all know that there was fishy things going on. It's just despicable what they're doing to him. Please don't fall for it, Utah. Please don't fall for it. If you want to know what the left's real plan is for your kids, just check out the reaction to the work Patriot Mobile has done in multiple school districts here in Texas. The left is losing their minds over what Patriot Mobile is doing. Now, what happens is Patriot Mobile takes a portion of your bill and they fund conservative causes with it and candidates who believe in the sanctity of life, freedom of speech, the Second Amendment, and they're winning. They're really effective at doing this. Patriot Mobile has affordable plans for you, your family, even your business, too. They offer the same nationwide coverage as all the major carriers because they use multiple major networks. Plus, you're supporting conservative values with every single phone call you make. Go to patriotmobile.com/Pat, or you could call 972-PATRIOT. You'll get free activation when you just punch in the offer code PAT. patriotmobile.com/Pat or 972-PATRIOT.
Pat Gray is unleashed.
Another debate that happened last night.
Yeah, busy night in politics.
In Georgia, Governor Brian Kemp had to explain to Stacey Abrams that it's now easier to vote in Georgia than it was in the not-so-distant past. Here's what he had to say.
With all due respect, I was called out. I would like to just the record reflect, as my time as Secretary of State, I'm the person that created the online voter registration system in this state, where any Georgian can vote, register to vote 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So for someone to say that we have been suppressive in our state when we've seen turnout increase over the years, including with minorities like African Americans, Latinos, and others, is simply not true. And again, Ms. Abrams is going to lie about my record because she doesn't want to talk about her own.
Right.
It's not often you see two incumbents having a debate with each other.
I know. You wouldn't think that gubernatorial office is big enough for the two of them, but apparently it has been.
It's a weird setup.
And there's another big fat lie because not only has she As she said the whole time, she didn't lose. It was fraud. But then she said she's never said it.
Yeah, she said it again last night during the debate. I didn't even have him pull the clip. It was just, makes you just want to vomit just listening to her talk. I'm like, let's just do a Kemp clip.
Well, there's no way if they didn't have a sympathetic press that they could get away with this. But because they do, they can. And they do. So it's agonizing, though, because like Kemp said, it is so easy to vote in Georgia. The one thing they're trying to eliminate is something that should be eliminated. There is no reason for election drop boxes. Stop that. There's no way you can control the fraud possibility when you've got drop boxes like that. And the movie 2000 Mules showed us just how awful that system is.
I don't know.
They just send people out to gather fake ballots, fill them out, drop them in the drop box. I mean, and there's video evidence of it. We've seen it with our own eyes. You can't say it didn't happen because we've seen it.
I think one of the most damning things of that movie, 2000 Mules, is when the one person gets found guilty for voter fraud and they trace back the fingerprints.
Oh, yeah.
And you see the next day,
it's so great.
They're dropping off ballots while wearing gloves.
So there's no fingerprint evidence anymore.
In Georgia, you pay close attention because not only does, when you watch 2000 Mules, does the question of the 2020 election for president come into question, but also the power of the Senate, because those two Georgia Senate seats, that's what shifted the power.
Right.
And when they realized, oh my gosh, that plan worked for the presidential election in November, let's do it again here in December.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you?
When you got away with it,
they did
the month before, and they did, and that's what they want to do again, which is why they keep yelling about election suppression. Oh, shut up! You just had record turnouts, including from minorities. What are you talking about? And Stacey Abrams was asked about that and said, "Oh, don't confuse turnout with
access or
access." Something to that effect. It was.
I can't stand to hear her speak. Whatever she said, who cares? Yeah.
More coming up, just a few minutes.
Radio Network.
Couple of tweets. McKay Christensen tweets, Mike Lee is up by 18 points. Everything else is just a show. There's nothing to talk about in Utah, so they generate these polls to attract viewers. Every election night, Mike Lee runs away with the victory. Right, but I don't want to be apathetic here or lackadaisical because that would come back to bite us.
Yep.
That would be bad. So just know you've got to show up to the polls. Also from Wes Usery, the way Senator Lee leans toward his opponents with an unbroken gaze shows he's firm in and dedicated to his ideals. When he steps down from the Senate, he should be next in line for SCOTUS. National treasure.
That's right.
Yeah, he would be great in the U.S. Supreme Court. That would be fantastic. From Mr. Shawns, one of the many reasons I want Herschel Walker in the Senate is for the intimidation factor. I want Schumer to pee his pants when Herschel yells at him.
I like that. That's a good plan. You know, all these Senate races, we haven't mentioned John Fetterman today or the thing growing out of his neck.
Yes.
But Pathead Mendola sent us a tweet after yesterday's show and basically linked to this podcast where this prediction was made a while back that the whole Fetterman charade with his wife, you know, acting all upset, wants the apology from NBC. And we were like, we didn't realize that was his wife standing behind him, all this stuff. She's from Brazil. So this podcast goes into this detail of explaining her background, all this stuff. What they're going to do, and they're absolutely right. I'm surprised we didn't think about this. Is they're going to get this guy elected, and then a couple of months in, he's going to step down for his health. She's going to take over the seat. And she apparently, quote, makes AOC look like a moderate, end quote.
Oof.
So that's the big plan.
Wow.
I mean, Democrats have done this time and time again.
Yeah, they have.
So I just didn't realize she was going to be the one that would fill that role. But, when the Democrat governor of Pennsylvania will most likely say, yeah, why don't you take that seat?
Yeah, that would be something. And I don't put anything past the Democrats.
No.
That could very well
we would literally
be a
have
possibility.
A Senator Fetterwoman in that respect.
But we're not supposed to notice that he's compromised at all. You're not supposed to notice that. Even though that would be the main reason they would make that switch should the time come. So that time can never come. All right? Man, these things are critical. Utah, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Herschel, fortunately, just put up a really good performance in his debate against Raphael Warnock. So there's increased hope there, at least on my part. He's also recovered from all of that scandal where he supposedly paid for an ex-girlfriend's abortion. He vehemently denies that.
Yeah. He's finally admitting that he gave her the money, but it wasn't for an abortion. That should have been his play from the beginning.
Yeah, it should have. Yeah, but, even if he did, he could have changed in the meantime. And even if he didn't change, he's still, again, way better than the alternative. So, as a Republican, what are you supposed to do? Say, oh, okay, well, he paid for somebody's abortion. Now I'm going to vote for the communist. How about that? That doesn't work.
3 weeks from today, we're going to find out. Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is America. We're not going to find out the election results on election night.
No, why would you?
I'm just saying that 3 weeks from today is election day.
You couldn't possibly have the kind of technology where you would find out immediately. What is this, 2022 or something? Don't be ridiculous.
It takes, that's the problem. Some fraud takes a while.
Yeah.
And you can't just get it all done in one night.
Here's something interesting, too. I don't know why you would do this, but Boston University scientists have created a lethal new COVID strain in a laboratory. I'm sorry, why would you do that? Well, because now that we have that virus, we can work to find a cure for it. Okay. Is that worth it, really?
Don't make it, bro.
We just came out of we're not even out of that situation.
Oh, yeah, not until February 28th, according to Gavin Newsom.
Yes. But it may have been a leak from a lab that started this whole thing in the first place. Now you're going to take the chance that could happen again with an even more deadly strain? They combined Omicron and the original Wuhan strain, and this particular strain killed 80% of the mice that were infected with it. 80%. That's a pretty high kill rate.
Yeah.
Whew. So that poses how dangerous virus manipulation research is, and it continues to go on, even here in the United States, despite the fact that may be what got us in this mess in the first place. Professor Shapira, a leading scientist in the Israeli government, said, this should be totally forbidden. It's playing with fire. Yeah, thank you. Scientist with some common sense. Gain-of-function research, that's when, of course, viruses are purposefully manipulated to be more infectious or more deadly, and it's thought to be at the center of the COVID origin. It probably wasn't bats, as we were led to believe in the beginning. Bat soup apparently did not, start this.
What about the pangolin?
No, or the pangolin.
Did anybody know what a pangolin was before 2020?
Is it a combination of a penguin and a mandolin?
Oh, okay.
I think that's what it is.
So it's a penguin that can carry a tune.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or play a tune on some instrument. You would assume it's the mandolin.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. All I know is this should not be happening.
Yeah, so this is what
Why are we still doing this?
Okay, so there's a big rat problem in New York City. Okay, I'm going to play devil's advocate.
All right.
So you take that thing they just made that kills mice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I realize mice and rat are different. But you're like, we got to get rid of this subway problem in New York, all these rats, and you release it there. And then what could go wrong?
What could go wrong? I'm sure it would be. Sure, that would be fine.
So do you want rats running around the streets of New York?
No.
Well, congratulations. Nobody's running around the streets of New York now.
Oh, okay. Well, then we cured the rat problem, right? So that's good.
Man,
why?
Okay, who wakes up every morning and says, maybe today's the day I can create something to kill
80% of the population of the planet?
Yeah, of the planet, yeah.
Jeez.
I don't understand the motivation there, other than just you're nuts.
And I don't know if the kill rate translates directly from rats to humans.
I don't know.
Would it be the same rate for humans?
Only if you make out with rats or mice, Jeffy. I don't want to play. Why do we play these games?
I don't know.
We are a stupid, self-destructive species.
Well, that's why we play these games, for that very reason. Also, have you been following the Ulta Beauty situation at all? So, Ulta is a cosmetic company, right? And I guess they have a podcast for their customers, which are mostly women. And here's a little sample for you of the latest episode, which features 2 men.
Wait, what?
Now I know I can find love. I know I can still be a performer. I know that I can have a family. I want to be a mom one day. And I absolutely can. And that's why the narrative still has a long way to go, because when I was grieving Boy Dylan, I didn't know those things were even accessible to me.
Oh, and yet they are not still. What do you say?
I'm speechless.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
I mean, there's so many women that are aware.
Upset with that?
Yeah, that conversation goes on for an hour, apparently. And women are like, screw Ulta. I'm done with you. It's how, okay, this is my thought. It's a pendulum swing, right? Our society used to look at people like that and say, man, you're mentally ill. And
we need to get you some help.
Yeah, we're going to lock you up.
Yeah.
And we're going to send you to the psych ward. And now, unfortunately, TikTok is our modern day psych ward. And if you suggest that these people are actually mentally ill or need some sort of rehabilitation,
they'll beat you within an inch of your life.
You're the one that's going to be involuntarily committed. You're going to be the outcast of society. You're the crazy one, the hater. If you don't accept this, promote it, think it's the greatest expression of oneself, I'm sorry. Those 2 dudes, one in a dress, one with a full-on beard, on a beauty show podcast is mental disturbance, is what it is. Our society is irretrievable. It's good grief. We were talking earlier in the show. You don't get those days back of really cheap gas. I just want the days back when we called dudes dudes and chicks chicks. Help.
I mean, that's a lot to ask, Keith.
That's all I want. I don't even need the cheap gas anymore. I just want to be able to refer to dudes as dudes. There's this great meme going around, and it's I did not send this to you, Rob, but it's Steve Harvey, right? He does the Family Feud thing, right? And he's saying, name something stupid that liberals do. And the lady goes, claim there is a gender pay gap, then turn around and say there's no such thing as gender.
Oh, that's great.
That is so great.
Wow. That kind of says it all, doesn't it? And again, this is a condition that just a few years ago, I think it was 2015, when the AMA changed their thought process on being trans. It was a disorder. And now, not only is it not a disorder, it's actually a superior way of being. It's something desirable. Oh, wow, that's so great. Congratulations, you changed your gender. Well, congratulations. Now they have, what, a 20 times greater risk of suicide than the normal population or the other people.
Children that undergo sex change operations, they tracked them and said they have a 20% greater chance of committing
20
suicide.
Times greater chance.
I'm sorry,
not just 20%.
Yeah, you're right. 20 times greater chance than the average population suicide rate.
But, companies like Ulta getting on the bandwagon and saying, no, this is great. Here's who, women in beards. That's who we cater to now. Okay.
All right. You watch a little bit like the opening of that hour-long podcast. That dude in the dress there, he's like doing this, with his chest. It's like, what the hell? What is happening? Look at it. David Lopez, host and beauty expert. I'm not taking beauty tips from that dude. There ain't nothing beautiful about that. You got a full-grown beard and mustache, and you're a dude. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. I know that I can have a family.
Well, you could adopt, yes. But they try to make it out like, no, they could actually give birth to children. Can they?
By the way,
I want to see that.
I was made aware this morning that dude in the dress on there, just make sure I have this right. He's got a sponsor for his little TikTok adventures where he prances around and acts like a chick and stuff like that. And his sponsor is, there he is, Tampax.
Okay. Product he doesn't need. Oh, but trans men can have menstruation cycles. Oh, all right. That's interesting.
What?
I don't know how that happens, but okay. All right.
What timeline are we on? And how do we get back to the one we were on?
This is not just timeline. It's just a parallel universe.
Yeah.
Where nothing is as it's supposed to be. Then there's Preborn. Preborn has partnered with the Blaze Media to try to save 50,000 babies this year. Now, Roe v. Wade and the overturning of that was definitely a step in the right direction. But the problem is the states will now take over, and the states will do more abortions than they ever did. Those who are all about abortion anyway. In the blue states, there's going to be more. So Preborn's mission is more important than ever. What they do is show an expecting mother the ultrasound that shows them you're dealing with a life here, a separate life, separate DNA from yours, arms, legs, limbs, brain, heart, everything. That's not your body. It just happens to be inside your body, but it's a separate one. And they see that. And so 80% of the time, they choose life. And when they do, then Preborn also provides things like maternity and baby clothes, diapers that are so expensive, car seats, counseling if they need it, all kinds of things free of charge to the women. Please help if you can. To donate, dial pound 250, say the keyword baby, pound 250, keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/Pat. Fox and Friends, just talking about a few minutes ago, talking about the big cookie wars that are going on now. You familiar with the cookie wars?
No.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Crumble, I think, is suing Dirty Dough and somebody else.
I'm not eating dirty dough.
You're not? Okay. Well,
I mean, I'll eat dough, but not dirty dough.
Missing out. But according to Crumble, they've had some of their information stolen, 643.7 megabytes of information stolen, including 66 recipes, building schematics, processes.
What in the world?
Store-level statistics, cookie calendars, training videos, and other branded information.
That is...
Isn't that something?
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad that... we're not involved in the cookie war.
We're
guys, letting Crumble do their thing.
Yeah, you
Dirty
rise
Dough,
above
do
the
your
fray.
thing. That's right.
Let them duke it out.
So instead of, battling with the people who are at war with each other, try Kexi.com. They're better cookies anyway.
Yeah, don't feed the war machine over there at Dirty Dough
or Crumble. So,
and what was your website again?
Kexi.com.
Kexi.com.
KEKSI.com. And man, do we have an array of super delicious cookies for fall. The butterbeer cookie is so fantastic. There's a mummy cookie that has chocolate Nutella cream in the middle. Pumpkin spice is fantastic. Oh, and Jackie just developed this really delicious pumpkin bread that's also chocolate.
What has happened? I'm hungry now.
If you spend $20 or more, you'll get, and you put the promo code The Jeffy in.
The Jeffy.
You'll save 18% right now. 18%. So do that, Kexi.com.
That's awesome.
Also, another house cleaning thing. Keith is doing a fundraiser for vets. This is really a cool thing.
Thank you. Yes, on 11/11, Friday, November 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern. You go to youtube.com/@themicwithkeith, and that's where we will be raising money for One Tribe, which used to be 22 Kill, because that's the number of veterans a day that were committing suicide.
All right. Jeez.
And then also Mighty Oaks Foundation, Chad Robichaux's group. So we're going to spend a few hours talking with veterans that day, getting their stories, find out their needs. We're going to take care of our heroes and raise money and split it 2 ways, 100% going to both of those groups. That's November 11th, 2 p.m. Eastern, youtube.com/@themicwithkeith.
Awesome. Been talking about some of these races going on across the country. They're so critical. You know, you got Mike Lee's race against Evan McMullin. He is ahead in the polling, but it's within the margin of error. So please, by all that is holy, pay attention to that and make sure that, you know, you get out and vote. Early voting starts next Tuesday in Utah, right? Yeah, a week from today.
Yeah.
Early voting in Texas starts next Monday. Early voting is already happening in Georgia. So there's not a lot of time. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. Need to take advantage of this time to figure out who the best candidates are and who the worst candidates are. And it'll jump right at you. You won't be confused at all when you look into it. Let's go to Doug in Utah. Hey, Doug, you're on the Blaze.
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's up?
I live in Goshen. What? I live in Goshen, Utah.
Okay. All right.
60 miles south of Salt Lake City.
Uh-huh.
And I drive up that far every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And I don't see any McMullin signs, but Mike Lee signs are everywhere. And nobody I know is going to vote for McMullin.
Okay.
So I ain't worried about it at all.
All right. Appreciate the update. Thanks a lot, Doug. I hope you're right.
Okay, but that's an hour south of Salt Lake.
Yeah, Goshen? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so go to Salt Lake and
drive around the neighborhoods there.
I kind of want to know.
I bet there's a few McMullin signs.
I mean, the liberals are very excited about him online.
I was driving down South Lake Boulevard the other day, you know, and there's a portion in some of the areas where they're just flooded with the lawn signs. And one of the signs was that they were, I forget who the candidate was. It doesn't matter because they don't have a prayer. Because their thing was pro-choice, pro-democracy. That's their deal in South Lake. Good luck with that.
Oh, okay? Nice.
Yeah.
Right here, huh?
Right here in South. Yes. Then there was another guy running for city council. His name was Mark something or other, but he spelled Mark with a Q. And that eliminated him from contention in my mind.
The Q,
right there.
The Q.
Mark with a Q? No. Sorry, can't do it, Mark. No.
Wow.
I'm not doing it.
Huh.
If you spell Mark with a Q, why don't you go UE too? The Mark with a MARQUE. That would be really cool.
Huh.
But I wouldn't vote for you. No. None of these newfangled things. Mark is spelled with a K. A C might be acceptable in some circumstances, but not a Q. Sorry. Can't go there.
What do you think about guys that that spell their name with 2 letters at the end? Kind of this.
I think it's a waste, Keith.
Right.
And with all the shortages we have going on right now.
Right. This is not the time
especially with consonants. This is not the time to add unnecessary letters. It's just not the time.
Where would you mine for consonants?
China mostly, and that's why.
That's the problem.
Why they're so rare.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
I love Chinese people too, but
come on.
Right.
But come on.
Okay. So when are you going to vote?
Well, I'm going to vote. I'm probably going to, because you can, in Texas, I don't know if this is the case nationwide, but if you early vote, you can vote anywhere within your county that you want to. So I think I'm going to vote next week sometime.
Okay. But not for Mark.
But not for Mark.
Mark.
No. No, thank you.
Okay.
And not for the guy who's pro-choice, pro-democracy.
Here's a question for Utah, about Utah and the Mike Lee, Evan McMullin fight there.
Mm-hmm.
Salt Lake City, has it been, because I was there a summer ago, and it just felt like, as I was driving around, beautiful city, but it just felt like any average big city in America as far as politics go, just based on the kind of the neighborhoods and, you know, some of the paraphernalia you see out in front. You're like, definitely we're in the liberal part of town. Has that city been infected the way Denver, the way Boise, the way Bozeman's going? Is Salt Lake City basically on that same path, and that's why someone like an Evan McMullin has a chance?
Yeah, it's been there for a while, too. Yeah, it's beyond the path. It's at the destination.
It's there.
So, yeah, Salt Lake City proper, pretty Democrat. It's just the surrounding, suburban area.
Isn't that the case? That's America's problem.
It's America's
in general.
problem. Yes. Yeah, it is.
The cities, man. The cities.
888-900-3393. More Pat Gray Unleashed coming up.
As the same bankers talk about, it's going to bring $1 billion, $700 billion off the sidelines, investment.
Yeah, so we got that going for us. $1 billion, $1,750 billion on the sidelines. That should not be.
How deep does the sidelines go?
Please send help. Well, that's what these votes across the country are for, to send help to stop this madman, this brain-dead person who hates America and is doing everything he can to destroy it. We've got to send him help. You got to send Mike Lee back to Washington. He's got to beat Evan McMullin. We've got to have Mehmet Oz defeat John Fetterwoman.
Boy, I hate saying that, but you're right.
Jeez. J.D. Vance in Ohio needs to win. All over the country, there are critical elections going on.
And if that fails in November, then maybe the aliens are an option. That'll be our next line of defense.
Also, Louisiana Senator John Kennedy is in a race, and he's just put out pretty simple and effective campaign ad. Take a look at this.
Violent crime is surging in Louisiana. Woke leaders blame the police. I blame the criminals. A mom should not have to look over her shoulder when she's pumping gas. I voted against the early release of violent criminals, and I opposed defunding the police. Look, if you hate cops just because they're cops, the next time you get in trouble, call a crackhead. I'm John Kennedy, and I approve this message.
I love it. He's so good. He's so fun. Next time you
get in trouble, call a crackhead. Okay,
that's
good advice.
Stuff.
Well, yeah, if you don't want the police there, that's sound advice. Also, Cori Bush is nearing $500,000 in campaign cash paid to private security, despite her repeated calls to defund the police.
Oh boy!
So a little bit of hypocrisy going on there.
No,
it's interesting because she told that tale about abortion, her second abortion.
Oh,
was terrifying. I mean, she was begging them to stop. She wanted to leave. Instead, they ignored her and just kept going until they finally put the instrument in there and performed the abortion. As she's saying no.
That sounds criminal.
It sure does.
It sounds like it would be a life-changing experience for her.
Right.
And that she would not continue to support abortion.
Right. And that's why nobody's talking about it on the left. Nobody wants you to hear that interview she did. I think it was an interview with NPR. It's amazing. But then on the other hand, on this gun issue, get rid of the cops, but I'm going to spend a fortune on my own private security because I'm important and you're not. I don't want you to defend yourself with guns. We're going to take those away from you and give all the power to the criminals. I mean, it's unbelievable. But again, you're not important. She is. Okay? So I don't want to hear your belly aching. I don't want to hear it. Plus, a lawyer has foreseen now a flood of comp claims by COVID vaccine injured clients. You know that's a lie because there are no people who have been injured by the vaccine. That's just ludicrous. What are you talking about?
Boy, this
conspiracy nonsense.
Thank you.
More than 7,000 claims have been filed alleging serious injury from COVID-19 vaccines as of September 1st, according to the most recent data. The Countermeasures Injury Compensation Program, which covers vaccines identified by HHS, has yet to provide compensation for any of them. The vast majority of claims remain pending, but CICP also rejected about 36 applications for failure to provide, quote, compelling, reliable, valid medical and scientific evidence, unquote, that the injury was the direct result of the vaccine issued in the past year. Okay. Lawyers nationwide are trading notes on how to represent vaccine-injured clients. And some are trying state workers' compensation systems for clients with plausible COVID vaccine injuries. We're trying to slot people into the right lawyers for their specific vaccine issues, according to Ohio-based Warner Mendenhall, who's also representing vaccine trial whistleblower Brooke Jackson in a False Claims Act lawsuit against Pfizer and its contractors. I thought Pfizer was protected from lawsuits. Didn't they protect them? The attorney is also working with groups including the Frontline COVID-19 Critical Care Alliance, Children's Health Defense, and First Liberty Institute, which, of course, is a sponsor of this very program.
Oh.
Now, reliable estimates for the frequency of COVID vaccine injuries are sparse. The Vaccine Adverse Events Reporting System, VAERS, that's the CDC's website. It's a passive tool, though, and the CDC told Reuters it hopes to post public data sets from its V-Safe survey program of 10 million participants by late November, 2 months later than it previously promised. Apparently, under its analysis of the data, which are missing free-form fields, I don't really know what that means, 7.7% of participants reported they sought medical attention following vaccination. Here's something you don't hear very often. 25% said they missed school or work due to adverse reactions. So that's fully 1/4 of all people who took the vaccine report that they missed school or work afterwards. And some missed out on life afterwards, as we've heard multiple times.
One thing I've noticed is that safe and rare is kind of a definition that the left has
abandoned.
They've kind of forgotten that.
Yeah.
Right? I thought.
Yeah. Safe and effective.
Safe and effective.
Gone.
Yeah, and side effects
safe,
are
effective,
rare.
and rare. Pretty much gone. So, well, they're still trying to maintain that it's non-existent. There are no side effects from this thing, which is incredible to me. It's incredible. You got hundreds of thousands of reports on VAERS, which is, again, the CDC's website. And so I guess you just ignore all of that? Well, yeah, we can't follow up and verify each and every one of them. Okay, but it should provide evidence that there are, some problems with this. Now, we just had the Texas Vaccine Symposium.
Yeah.
Did you know that just took place?
Fun stuff, right?
At the University of Houston. I am so bummed that we missed it this year. I completely...
Yeah, you're normally...
I'm all over the Texas Vaccine Symposium as a rule. Another thing you missed, Keith. Another thing you missed.
It wasn't on my calendar. I apologize.
Wow. How did that... I mean, what kind of oversight is that? The Texas Vaccine Symposium is a must every single year, dating back to, I don't know, the mid-40s or so.
Yeah, I'll put it on your calendar for next year.
Okay.
So sorry I missed it.
University of Houston professor Valerie Koch had some strong words about the unvaccinated.
Ooh.
The United States has already seen the reemergence of the polio virus in addition to an outbreak of monkeypox, the latter of which has already been declared a federal public health emergency.
Mm-hmm.
Both diseases have safe and effective vaccines that have been proven to control the transmission of these dangerous viruses.
Yeah.
However, if the unvaccinated become a protected class, the spread of such diseases is likely to escalate.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Fourth, and this is not the final reason, but it's my final reason today, classifying unvaccinated individuals as a protected class is also legally inconsistent with a history of vaccine mandates. Mandatory vaccines are, by their nature, an intrusion into individual autonomy and bodily integrity. But the right to individual autonomy is not absolute and may be limited in circumstances where individuals pose a risk to others. In the context of COVID-19, the risk of transmission and harm to others is great, particularly for at-risk individuals and communities.
Wait,
the Supreme Court, as
aren't they vaccinated? Why are they at risk? If they're vaccinated, it shouldn't matter whether I am or not. I can't believe we're still having this argument. Can you believe it? I can't believe after 2 years, we're still having this argument. We're still dangerous to the vaccinated.
You got
Wait, why? They're vaccinated. You just said it was safe and effective. Okay, then they shouldn't have anything to worry about from me. Let's see the rest of this.
Particularly for at-risk individuals and communities. The Supreme Court, as we also heard earlier, held in 1905 that there are justifications when such intrusions are necessary, and it is essential to continue to abide by this precedent.
Yeah, the Supreme Court also got
throughout the
slavery
COVID-19
wrong, too.
pandemic, citizens have used the legal system to enforce COVID-19 restrictions and, conversely, to argue against them.
Oh, my.
Efforts to declare the unvaccinated a protected class is just one weapon in an anti-vaccine advocate's arsenal that could severely limit our ability to control highly transmissible and dangerous diseases.
Don't let them use the courts.
Countering these efforts will be a prolonged but necessary process to safeguard the public health.
Wow.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
No, thank you, because that was very chilling.
Yeah.
Nice to know who you are, though, and that you're a fascist and you just want to force these things on people. That's not a problem at all.
They're not done with us.
No, they're
You're
not.
You're unvaccinated. Don't exhale, because they're not done with us. Now, I'm sorry that I failed to put that event on your calendar.
Right.
Obviously, you missed it. It happened on Friday down in Houston. And there was another visitor in the crowd there, and he had some questions for the Pfizer representative who was speaking.
Oh.
That was interesting the way that played out. Watch this.
Fear of, Bill
ma'am, I have a question. So Pfizer has the biggest criminal fine in history. So how is it anti-science to not trust them? If they're on record bribing physicians and fudging with test results, $2.3 billion fine. So how is it anti-science to simply question them? Can you explain that, please?
So I appreciate your comment. I'd like to finish my presentation, and if you can hold your questions.
I mean, it's not going to be answered. So I have 4 questions. Hey, I have 4 questions that didn't get answered.
Oh my God! No, please.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, that was a feel-good
loud
video
thud.
of the year.
Whoever captioned that loud thud. Right, he was choking.
That's right. Right. Oh, that's...
So he stands up to say, hey, why would we trust Pfizer? And why is it anti-science to not trust someone who is responsible for the largest fine in American history, $2.3 billion? And that's when somebody at the event's like, sit down, I'm going to choke you with my puny hand.
He grabbed him.
Yeah, he grabbed his
and was
throat.
choking him.
Right.
So the guy just tossed him aside like a rag doll.
Like a rag doll.
Fantastic.
That was a serious miscalculation by the guy in the suit coat.
It absolutely was. Yeah, we got to see it. Oh, look at that.
Look at this.
No, please.
He went to the floor, too, didn't he?
Yeah.
He went down.
Quote, loud thud.
Awesome.
Feel good, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Maybe that makes me a bad person.
No.
So be it. No. Because that is good stuff. Whoomp. With his left hand.
Yeah.
I got it one more time.
Yeah, isn't it? It's
play
so
that
good.
One more time. That's fantastic.
I have 4 questions that
didn't
get answered.
Oh my God.
Look at this. I mean, what do you think you're doing?
No, please. Oh my God.
What was he supposed to do? The guy's choking him. Yeah, really, really bad miscalculation there on his part. The guy's about 10 times your size, doofus.
So now I bet you're really mad that I didn't.
Yeah, I am, because that would have been fun to see
in person.
In person, yeah. Wow. Yesterday we played video of the several eco-terrorists in London. 2 of them dumped soup on the Vincent van Gogh sunflowers painting. Fortunately, they protected it with glass, so really no harm done. I guess it harmed the frame a little bit.
Oh no!
But the painting itself was fine.
What was the frame worth? I mean, if the painting's worth
the painting's $84 million, I imagine the frame is somewhat pricey. It's probably not something you picked up at Hobby Lobby, would be my guess.
What if they threw in framing for free?
Okay, well, then
I'm going to leave this Van Gogh here for 2 weeks and come back and get it once you get it framed.
Yeah, just give me a call or give me my claim check, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. So here's another useful idiot. They're blocking traffic and getting an earful from a lady.
Since Third World War, is it?
2 to 3 years before we reach tipping point.
Look, I'm sorry
tipping point in 2 years.
it, but you know what? There are 6 million people that live in this city, and you're f***ing up their lives. The city Yes, I do. And I adhere to the small things. Why don't you go and sit in the road in China or in India?
Yeah, go to China.
Something that might be useful.
I'm a British citizen, and I want my government to do the right
What,
thing.
you want them to stop oil? So how are you going to heat your house? How are you going to heat your house?
How are you going to heat your house?
How are you going to run your car?
Run your car.
You've got enough money to buy an electric car
That's great.
that starts at £40,000. No, you don't. Do you know the debris that comes from making those batteries on
Look at that.
There's no one having an heart attack, and an ambulance has got to get through it.
I mean, that is such great stuff.
Oh, that's very good of you. Very good of you. No, I don't want to hear nothing. I hope it's my dad not having a heart attack. He has no argument. No, he's not even listening to anything you're saying. It's going over his head.
Yeah. Go to China. Go sit in the road there. Go to India. Sit in the road there. And don't tell me to buy an electric car. Have you seen the debris, the pollution that comes from mining those batteries? So shut up. And then the other lady's like, yeah, somebody could have a heart attack and die because you're blocking the road, bro. These people don't care. And they're not in these other countries like China because they're not out there to try to make a difference. They're trying to destroy the Western world.
Also, they know for a fact China would not put up with
it.
They just wouldn't deal with it. You'd be physically removed, probably jailed, and who knows if you ever get out. They don't care.
No, you'll be stringing together Christmas lights with the Uyghurs.
Yep. Yeah, and that's not a fun proposition.
No.
Jeez. Why don't you protest the fact that the Biden administration has destroyed this country or is in the process of destroying it? And because of their stupid policies, gas prices just continue. What is the national average today, Rob? Because yesterday was 3. Oh, down another penny.
What are you going to do with that penny right there? What are you going to do?
Well, keep in mind, that's a penny per gallon, so it's about 21 cents for me.
So what are you going to do with that? You could combine that with the 16 cents you saved July 4th, 2021.
I want to be careful with it.
It's 37 cents total there.
Yeah, that's nothing to spit at, okay? It's nothing to spit at. By the way, President Biden just brushed off a reporter who said, hey, the inflation report is out. Have you seen gas prices around here in Los Angeles? This was obviously when he was in L.A. It's $7 a gallon almost. Biden's response, that's always been the case here. No. No, it has not.
What?
Jeez. It's not what nationwide they came down about $1.35. And they're still down over $1. So he acknowledges.
Oh, yeah.
That even from the peak, which was over $5 a gallon, it's come down $1.35 and then went back up. And it's now still over $1. But we're going to work on housing is the most important thing we have to do in terms of that. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're going to lower housing prices now? How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
By devaluing our neighborhoods because crime is so rampant that nobody wants to live in America's neighborhoods. That's how they'll bring your housing price down.
Oh, but don't forget the energy efficient coffee machine.
All right. The coffee machines.
That's a game changer for American families. Am I right?
When coffee machines are priced affordably?
Yeah. When they're using
everything.
just a little bit less electricity.
Not to mention, the Medicare. And what was the other
thing?
Hearing
aids.
Hearing aids.
Hearing aids,
right?
yeah.
So there you go. You got coffee machines.
Coffee machines and hearing aids.
And hearing aids.
What else do you need, America? you need to count your blessings.
Instead of buying, milk and eggs and, heaven forbid, meat, beef, which is skyrocketed, go to the store and get yourself a hearing aid. You're going to save a bunch of money right now.
And then get one of those energy efficient
coffee machines.
Who calls it a machine? And then
so here's the thing. Okay. When you get the hearing aid and the coffee machine, you'll be able to hear it brewing your coffee. Drip, drip, drip. And you haven't heard that for a long time. Now you'll be able to.
But that might,
thanks to Joe Biden.
That might drive you into a panic. And you might be like, wait, is there a sink dripping in here? No. You can hear
that's right. It's my really inexpensive coffee machine I just bought and saved a whole bunch of money on.
Yeah. So have we concluded that America is fixed?
It's fixed.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Party, y'all. I swear, it's
amazing.
It's egregious what they are doing right in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I swear, if this election day wasn't 3 weeks away, what would we be doing as a nation? I mean, how are we not, and I'm talking about myself too, how are we not standing in the streets right now?
I know. You're protesting?
Protesting
right in their faces.
Hell out of this government.
Times.
Because it's happening in Europe, right? It's happening all over the Western world, but not in the United States of America.
Yep.
And that's exactly what January 6th was all about, the way that the government overlords have responded to it, to make sure that nothing even similar to that ever happens again in this country.
But let's not forget what Biden has said.
As the same bankers talk about, it's going to bring $1 billion, $700 million off the sidelines, investment.
It's going to bring all that money off the sidelines. Can you imagine $1 billion, $1 trillion, $750 million billion?
Is that what we gave to Iran under Obama? Pretty close to that, right?
It was close. And it's what we're giving to Ukraine right now.
Oh, gosh.
By the way, speaking of Ukraine, where is the outrage on the quid pro quo situation with Joe Biden right now? And, what he is doing.
Are you talking about with the oil, Saudi Arabia?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Yes. There will be consequences to Saudi Arabia because they didn't do what he told them to do, and that's wait till after the election before you cut your production. Okay, well, no. We're not going to do that. Well, then there's going to be consequences. What is that but a quid pro quo, which got Donald Trump impeached?
Right. An American president threatening a foreign government to do something that might help him politically. And if they don't do it, there will be consequences?
Yeah, it seems quid pro quo, doesn't
it? Sure
does. Because Trump was supposedly pressuring the Ukrainian government into investigating Biden's family dealings. And he leveraged $400 million in military aid in return, supposedly. I didn't hear any evidence of that on the phone call. But, Biden had even done that with Ukraine. He threatened to withhold the $1 billion in aid we were going to give him back then if they didn't fire that. It was a prosecutor.
Yeah,
the prosecutor.
Getting too close to his son.
Doesn't matter. Because he gets the cover from the media. So he can just do as he pleases.
I'm telling you, though, this country might get an injection of hope if the Republicans win Congress.
Sure hope so.
If that does not happen, and especially if there is evidence of fraud in this midterm.
Bad. That would be suboptimal.
I don't want to think about it.
All right. We'll see you on Overtime, and then again tomorrow here on Pat Gray Unleashed.
Pat Gray. Only on the Blaze Radio Network.